Lizzie, take it away.
216,000 jobs gained in the month of March, Betty. 216,000. The unemployment rate edging down just a tad to 8.8%. This is a little bit of a beat of those surveys that we saw. And the big drivers here are professional and business services. That's where you see the numbers come through. 78,000 jobs gained there. Healthcare has been a big one. 37,000 jobs gained there. This is the lowest unemployment rate in 2 years, and it's the 6th straight month of gains that we have seen, 216,000. And I do want to point out a couple of things. The labor force essentially unchanged. The participation rate essentially unchanged. Average hourly earnings unchanged as well. We do see year over year that they're not quite keeping up with CPI. One thing I want to point out, though, we now see about 13.5 million people unemployed, 6.1 million of them unemployed for 6 months or longer. And that's a big share. It actually went up. So now 45.5% of the folks who are unemployed have been unemployed for 6 months or longer. So it doesn't alleviate that trend we've seen of longer term unemployment. But the numbers we're getting for March beat consensus just a tad. 216,000 jobs gained. The unemployment rate falling to 8.8%. And we got a little bit of a revision to the past 2 months, a net gain of 7,000 jobs in those two, Betty.
Lizzie, thank you. And John, I'm looking at the market reaction. I'm seeing a bit more in the Treasury markets.
Yeah, so there's an interest in buying stocks right now, not an interest in buying bonds, and there's an interest in owning the U.S. dollar because all of these signs pointing to more improvements for the U.S. market, the U.S. economy. There's a look at futures for the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ right now. And a reminder that last time we had a better than expected jobs report last month, the market ended up being lower at the end of the day. The context that we gave was that we just had a huge quarter, the best in 13 years, but no one's seeing any huge reasons to sell right now, Betty, with these 3 points all being encouraging. The private sector number, the overall jobs number, and, of course, the unemployment rate ticking down.
Mike, what do you make of that, the unemployment rate?
Betty, if I could... Oh, yeah,
no, go ahead.
I was going to jump in and say one of the things we did see here was a loss in government jobs, not as big as last month. But when you see that 15,000 drop in government jobs, it comes on a trend that we keep seeing. So it's been the private sector that's pushing this, not the government. That will be an interesting sort of understory as we start to see state budgets come in under even more pressure. But the political reaction to this is going to be quite favorable because you are seeing this drop in the unemployment rate, and that's what politicians look at.
Yeah, the unemployment rate is good news, Betty, because in this case, the labor force participation rate rose. We had more people in the labor force. What happened was more people got jobs than lost jobs last month, and that's what you want to see. And we had some predictions that would continue. And it is. That's good news politically for President Obama. The composition of the report looks at first glance to be pretty good. We got a strong number of service jobs hired, 199,000. That's the biggest in looks to be at least this past year. And that's where we expect to see jobs in a service economy. The one disappointing point is no change in average hourly earnings. And we need to see earnings keep rising in order to see people keep spending, especially if the economy slows or there's a psychological reason like higher gas prices why people might not want to spend.
That's true. Let me bring in now, guys.
You don't see those earnings keep pace with urban CPI, which has been the other thing if you're talking about buying power.